Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie, and today we have a special installment of our new series that we're calling ArtSpeak. We will be introducing you to some of our very valuable employee artists that are here at Cheap Joe's. Yay. And today I'm very excited because I want you guys to meet Alys, who is the manager of our Asheville, North Carolina store. She is the bomb. So welcome, Alys.
Hey.
Yay. Thank you for agreeing to do this. I know this is not your deal as much as this isn't my deal either.
Yep.
You know, but
behind the scenes.
Yeah, here we are. Here we are. So we're talking just a little bit ago. How long have you been with Cheap Joe's? I can't remember.
10 years. I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary in September.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the Asheville store has been open 4 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That seems like that.
It flew by.
It did.
It did.
Crazy.
It's still flying.
So, back it up.
Okay.
All right. You're not originally from North Carolina.
I am not.
Where are you from?
I was born in Puerto Rico, and then we moved to the States when I was probably about 1 or 2, and then we lived in Maryland for a really long time. And for college, I decided to go to North Carolina in 2003, and I've never gone back.
Nice.
Yeah. I like it here. I don't like Maryland, so I'm all about it. Yep. North Carolina's fun, and I love Asheville. Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because you have a very kind of northern vibe.
Yeah.
You're not all sugar-coated southerny.
No.
And a lot of people like describe me that way. Like I don't seem like I'm from the South.
From here, yeah.
So I automatically gravitated to you when we first met. I was just like, yeah.
I'm nice.
Yeah.
I'm sweet.
Yeah.
I just got my moment.
I do as well.
Yeah.
You came to North Carolina exclusively for school.
I did.
And studied
theater arts administration.
Wow.
Yeah. So theater, I started doing theater in high school and I loved it. Mostly props, like a big fan of sculpting, painting, like, you know, creating something to look realistic, but in this really over dramatic way, you know, because it has to read from far away. Yeah, and then I started doing stage managing because I really like to yell. Like I'm really good at it. Yeah, and then I started doing the business of theater because, you know, I got pretty good at it, and then that's what I graduated doing. Yeah,
that's funny because, like, I didn't want to be a professional artist. My degree is in art and business as well, so that's strange.
Just the way it works. Just the way it works.
Yeah. Okay, and so the funniest or cutest route from college to here, how did that work out?
So in our previous discussion of how I actually got to Cheap Joe's, I worked for a corporate company for about 6.5 years, and then I quit that job. I went on Craigslist one day and found Cheap Joe's on it, and I was like, cool, it's an art store. I could work at an art store. I'm a theater major, you know, it'll be a fluke job for a little while. And so I went, interviewed, got hired the exact same day I was interviewed, and I never left.
Yeah.
So I basically commuted an hour every day to Cheap Joe's for the first year I was here, and then I moved to Charlotte, and I worked at the Charlotte store for, gosh, like 6 years, I guess. Yeah, and then I moved here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and at that point, I was like off-site doing other things, and I wasn't as heavily involved as I am even now. So I didn't meet you until later. Yeah. So theater, corporate, Cheap Joe's, shifting some gears.
I didn't enjoy my big corporate job. I carried a lot of like stress and weight home with me every day. And so having that change was pretty awesome. You know, like shifting to being in a much more, you know, upbeat and friendly environment. Plus, Cheap Joe's caters to my style of customer service where I can like actually engage with people and, you know, I don't get in trouble for saying, oh, well, we don't actually have this item, but you could find it here. You know, I would get fussed at all the time when I would recommend other locations. So, you know, it's nice to like work for a place that's like, we want you to be honest with the people. And I'm like, me too. Sounds great. And then it just opened up my world of all the possibilities of art. It was just fascinating to train and learn, and then get immersed into it for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, because we have a lot of people that honestly interview for jobs and tell you that they have art interest or art background or art experience, and you find out later, like especially when they go through the training with me, that they probably embellished on that description quite a bit. There was maybe some advanced glue placement involved, and so it's a long road to train them to really, really interact in a way that we need them to. But you were somebody who really didn't like just take a passive stance. You're very active and like trying to understand the myriad of stuff that we have to deal with, like in all kinds of areas, even ones that aren't our own. So
I think because I had retail experience and I had already managed my own department, that was pretty easy for them to hire me as the assistant manager. And then I remember when you came to train me and I was like, what is this? You can do that? Like, tell me everything. I want to know all of it. Do you remember? I was like, my brain
was really long.
exploded. Like 8 hours of my day, gone, fried.
Do you remember too? I was like sick as a dog. I was like, what questions do you have? You know?
And I'm like, I have everything. You ready? Here's my long list. Let's go.
I'm gonna go to my hotel and die.
That was fun. I do remember that. And now every employee I hire, I tell them, you're going to go through a training and your brain is going to turn to mush. Anything you think you know, you are wrong.
I know. I love it when I get about maybe 30% is about the highest I've ever made it with people where I'm training them, and then they start to get a little flaccid faced. And you're like, come on.
Is there coffee?
We're
Can I have something?
Started.
Wake up? Can I do something?
Eat some calisthenics. We got a long haul. So I feel bad, you know, because like it's in your face.
It is. I was about it. I was all about it. It made my day. And then it just forced me to be like, all right, I'm going to spend a lot of money, about to try everything I just learned about. Awesome.
But that's the thing. I mean, there's now a really extraordinary like employee discount program to make that process so much easier. I mean, we have like visiting people who come through and are really interested in seducing us into like liking their stuff.
New products. Look at what it does.
And you know, you try to be polite about that whole process, but really getting into new stuff and a new area takes a lot more than slinging a $3 brush at somebody. You know, so you know, I think that's where Cheap Joe's stands out, whereas other people don't. You know, they're really interested in making sure that if you're interested, then you get to follow that all the way through to the end. So then you started doing all kinds of stuff. So like, you had art-related theater experience with that stuff, but then you're translating all of that knowledge into a fine art kind of application here. And what'd you try first?
It was a whirlwind, for sure. You know, color theory in theater is different in the art world.
Yes, it is.
So all the things I had spent 4 or 5 years learning,
people don't understand that color mixing with light
is totally different
than color mixing with paint.
And it took me a while just to get used to that. And so I originally started with oils, and I love them. And my old manager, Katie, she taught me. And my favorite lesson she ever taught me was, if you want to blend, go make the swishy sound. You know you're blending. Right. If you make that sound while you're doing it. And I was like, you're so right. It's totally true. But I fell in love with all the colors of oils. And then I went to a golden workshop in Atlanta. They did a retailer workshop. And it was like the day you trained me. It was just like my mind exploded and was like, cool, gonna change this up, gonna try something new. So I started painting in acrylics, and it's pretty much mostly what I paint in now. And then a vendor rep introduced me to spray paint. That's a whole other world that I was like, well, all right, we're gonna tackle this now. So it's been really fun to one, experiment with all the mediums, because my employees have dubbed me the encyclopedia. So I pretty much know anything and everything there is to know about what we sell or how it works, the do's and the don'ts, because I read a lot about it, I talk with people about it, but then there are areas that, you know, obviously I excel in the most.
Yeah.
And acrylics and mediums, that's my jam. That's what's up.
Yeah. And you've let that knowledge like translate directly into what you're doing.
Yeah.
A lot of right now.
I try to.
Yeah.
Even just a few minutes ago while I was unboxing everything, two of my employees were like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, funny, that's what I'm demoing today. Little did you know. That's exactly what I'm about to talk about in a video.
Yeah. So after this, we will be doing on like a staged on-camera demo of Alys' process, which is very, very interesting. It's a little outside my area.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't do builds quite as like the way that you do them. So this is a departure for me.
Yeah, and it's fun. I work a lot in layers, so
yeah. And please excuse for time constraints, so you weren't aging out. You know, we actually have pre-prepped a lot of stuff, so you'll see what we're talking about.
Costume change.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So then it was not just acrylic, but like you said, like spray paint, and you're also teaching here locally under the Chief Joe's umbrella. You're trying to get the community exposed to us and also material and stuff like that.
Yeah, I tried to go out to a couple of schools. When I was in Charlotte, I taught a lot to veterans groups, which was a lot of fun. You know, those are some nonprofits, and it helps them work through their PTSD and just, you know, get them into a different mindset rather than just sit at home and watch TV, because he wants to do that. And I started doing some teaching with like spray paint in Charlotte, but Asheville is very big on murals, and Charlotte is now getting there, which is exciting for them, but Asheville is super big on that. And so getting teachers who want to educate their students, but to use spray paint in a healthy fashion,
right?
Which is why it's called urban art. It is not graffiti. Graffiti has become a very negative connotation to it, and I mean there are people that still do that, but what I try to do is encourage them to take that medium and put it into an actual art form that you can either sell, hang, and that's not vandalizing a wall, you know. So it's teaching them. One of my teachers, we incorporate a stencil lesson. So he explains to them how to create a stencil, you know, how to do a reverse image or whatever, you know, however you need to. And then when I go, I explain to them how to use the materials, and then they can only use the stencils they've created. So it's really fun to watch them like take the paint, like spray, and then like put stencils and like embellish over it. And that's exactly what I did yesterday for 4 hours. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I like doing it.
You got to tell them what you did for 4 hours straight.
I taught 20 high school boys at a private school spray paint.
That's no joke, folks. Hello. There's just nobody that can just do that. So
8th grade to 12th grade. At the end, in the middle of last year, I taught 4 groups of middle schoolers spray paint. That also was a very, very fun and challenging experience. But I originally, side note, when I went to college, I went to go study education to be a middle school teacher. So I switched gears because it wasn't necessarily for me, but it definitely helped play into going to do this, like how to channel a child and how you can like word things to them so they actually feel engaged rather, you know, and they want to do something rather than not participate. So yeah, that was fun. That was a good time. It's a good time. It's a long day.
20 high schoolers. Oh,
it's a long day.
And guys too. 20 dudes.
Luckily, I brought an employee who helped me. He had already taught before, which was helpful. But and they were also like sports guys who aren't like artists. So it's, you know, it's trying to like reel them in and be like, all right, guys, come on, let's.
Now, were they already pre-disgruntled before arriving there that they had to do this, or were they kind of open?
Most of them were pretty open. Some were disgruntled because they didn't have breakfast before they came, and it was also like 40 degrees outside and we're spray painting. You know, it was 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, who wants to do that? I didn't. But I did. And it was still fun, you know, like once they got into it, you know, and demonstrating, I brought a bunch of stencils and that really helped them kind of like get into it. Yeah, so it was a good turnout.
Cool. That would have been rough.
Yeah.
I have to say. I taught for 4.5 years, but it was on my terms. It wasn't in a
someone
school.
else's.
Yeah, it wasn't even a school setting. It was my school setting, and what you're talking about is a whole different thing. So that's tough.
Yeah, I love it though. It's good.
Okay, but I want to talk about, yes, you have some like art things going on that are like more under the Cheap Joe's umbrella, but you have some creative things that are going on with you that are not.
It's true.
Under the Cheap Joe's umbrella.
It's true. Whether it can be seen on camera or not is this beautiful beast behind me.
Yeah.
So I was in a car accident 2.5 years ago, and it basically broke both of my legs. And for someone who spray paints, you can't spray paint sitting down or laying in a bed. Just doesn't happen. Even painting was challenging. So while I was in the hospital and mostly in rehab, people brought me Lego sets, and I had already played with Lego, but then I got really big into it because it's something I can sit down and do. I don't have to think about it. Take some sets and then really get creative with it. And funnily, I've really been interested in sculpture, so it's like a different way.
Right.
So there's someone who works really close to Cheap Joe's that is now my roommate, and we built this together. It took us probably about 6 months to do, and we have displayed it about 8 times, and I love it. It's our big giant mountain elf dragon awesomeness that is blacklight reactive.
It's epic.
Yeah.
You gotta really, you almost have to see it in person to understand.
I wish I brought my blacklight flashlight to be like, see this, look at this glow. But I enjoy it because it's a whole other side of my brain, you know?
Yeah.
Just the process of learning, you know, like everyone could build a set, right? Follow instructions, you see all the pieces, but in order to do this, I had to research, you know, like what pieces give you this texture, or like, how do I create this shape? And taking a blacklight flashlight to my bin of Legos was awesome. You like turn the lights out, you put the black light on, you're like, look at what glows! This is so cool! So when we built this piece, we chose to have that element into it. And now, of course, that's all we want to do. Is any huge piece we build is all going to have this black light thing, and that's what we want to be known for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You were saying like even the lava.
Totally black light.
Yeah.
Yep.
And some of the vegetation.
Yep.
And
my favorite
other elements.
Vegetation is Maggie's head. Can you reach the blue one? I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah,
The one that looks like this?
Yep. What we call a berry bush is actually Marge's head. Most people don't see is like, you know, the texture they create, and it's really fun for me to learn from these guys that build Legos. That you know, like you can take something what would normally be and then transform it into something different, and you know, I am like, oh, that's great.
Well, what's so funny is many times as I've looked at this, I didn't notice that it was Maggie's head.
Yeah, most people don't.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. But yeah, most of it's blacklight reactive, and even in the process, we found some transparent pieces that when they were made in the factory, either they use a certain type of plastic or a batch was like tinted incorrectly, so they should be transparent, but they actually glow blue in blacklight. Yeah, and so even just ordering that, like from the vendors, we'd like, can you get a flashlight and like shine it, and then the ones that glow, those are the ones we're gonna buy. Will you do that? Yeah, so it was very interesting to like learn that also, but it's fun. So yeah, Legos are my little side gig.
I love it.
Side build.
Well, we have a bunch to show everybody on our demo video. So everybody tune in for that. We're going to go step by step through Alys' process, and you can watch the materials that we're using and how exactly all that is applied. So make sure to tune into that one. But thank you for watching, and we hope that you enjoy.